Okay, let's give you guys some more practice. So establish if this integral will diverge or if it will converge. And remember, dead on zero, this whole thing here breaks down. So bear that in mind. So press pause and have a go. Okay, so to do this, let's because dead on zero is undefined, let's break it up into two integrals. So break this up into one integral here. So break it up into two integrals. So break this up into one integral. So from 0 to 1, and then from 1 all the way to infinity, and then from 1 all the way to infinity. So now it's just a matter of us trying to establish if this will converge or if it will diverge, and then this, will this converge or will it diverge? So now let's just look at this one here. So let's just have a look at this one here. Later on we will have a look at this. So just looking at this, we want to establish if this thing here will converge or if it will diverge. Well, to answer this question, compare this thing to this. Compare this thing to this, because if you look at the denominator, if you make the denominator smaller by omitting this, then the denominator here will be smaller than the denominator here. Well, if the denominator here is smaller, then the overall thing here will be bigger than the overall thing over here. Maybe you can press pause and think about it. But if you look at the denominator here, make the denominator smaller by discarding this. So this thing here will be small. This denominator here will be smaller than this denominator here. So if this denominator is smaller, then the overall thing here will be bigger than this overall thing here. And then when you get to this stage here, you've got to have this diagram in your mind. 1 over x looks like this. So it's 1, 1. So this is 1 over x here. If you have 1 over, don't forget this thing here is, this thing here is, hang on, x to the power of a third, and then you square root it. So that would be like this. So it would be this times this. So that would be x to the power of 1 over 6. So 1 over x looks like this. X to the power of 1 over 6 will look something like this. So in this region here, from 0 to 1, this region here will converge. This thing here will converge. So you should be able to ingrain this diagram in your mind. So this thing here will converge. Well, this being greater or equal to this, then this will have no choice but to converge, because if you look at this here, x to the power of 1 over 6 will look something like this. Okay. Well, this thing here is smaller, so it's going to be smaller. Well, if this thing here converge, then the smaller thing will have no choice but to converge. So overall, this thing here will converge. So this thing here will converge. Now we have to establish this. So now let's have a look at this. So just looking at this, hang on. So now looking at this, we need to establish if this will converge or if it will diverge. And the way to do this is to compare this thing to this thing here. Well, if you look at the denominator, if you discard this, hang on, sorry. Look at the denominator here. If you discard this, then the denominator here will be smaller. If the denominator here is smaller, then the overall thing here will be bigger than the overall thing over here. Press pause and think about it. Yeah, press pause and think about it. So this thing here will be bigger or equal to this thing here. Now, if you look at this thing here, 1 over x looks like this. So this is 1 over x. Hang on. This is 1 over x here. So x to the power of 1. But then let's tidy this up. So we've got x to the power of 3, and then we're going to square root it. So that will be, this gets multiplied together. So that will be x3 over 2. So 1 over x looks like this. this thing here being bigger than 1 will look something like this. So now from 1 to infinity, the point is that this thing here is going to converge. This thing here is going to converge, but then this thing always being greater or equal to this thing, or the smaller one, will also have to converge. The point here is that if this thing here converge, then this will have no choice but to also converge. So looking at this, this thing here, we've already seen that it will converge. Now this thing here, we've just seen that it will converge. So this will converge, combine the two, the whole thing here will converge. So going back to here, this thing here will actually converge. You can actually work out this area here. Okay.